Welcome back, you filthy exiles. So, I'm getting more and more excited by the changes that are coming out in 3.20, day by day as they're sort of releasing them. So, not only have we got like Ruthless mode that's coming out, we've also got, changes to the way that duels are happening. Now, I'm on the bench about that one as to whether or not that's going to be a good change or not, but we'll see. Archnem's being taken out of the game and restructured and sort of redone in hopefully a much better way than how it was done in the past couple leagues. But this one's actually the best change that I've seen yet. So fundamentally, they're changing Eldritch Altars. So if you didn't know what they were, they spawn during maps when you're doing like Exarch or Eldritch sort of infused maps. But it's actually not that part that makes these notes really good. It's the part where fundamentally we're going to have access to Awakened Gems without actually having to farm Maven moving forwards. Now, I really hate farming Maven, so for me this is actually a really good change. So just looking at this, the Forbidden Sanctum expansion, we're making a number of changes to Eldritch Altars, specifically to their rewards. So this will be more for when you get into like red tier mapping predominantly. It's not really applicable to early tier mapping. Monster pack spawns and things like that, which quite frankly, some people might be up in arms about. I really don't care about that, but this is where it gets really cool. In addition, we are adding a chance for Maven Witness map bosses to drop Awakened Gems, inclusive of the Awakened Gems that are typically exclusive to Maven herself. Now, what's going to be really interesting is whether or not the points on the Atlas have a bearing as to whether or not better things drop on those Maven-infused maps, or Maven Witness maps that you're going to be doing. But the really important thing now is that we don't have to be gated behind a Maven fight to be able to get access to Awakened Gems, which means that you can farm these in the ordinary course of the game. I actually, void of everything else that's here, like, right, we're talking about boss rushing and, whatever other strategies. Now, as a delve player, I only really use maps to be able to get Sulfite for delving. What this is indicating to me is a much bigger incentive to run Maven-powered maps than, like, Searing Exarch or Eldritch, because I realistically want to go after Awakened Gems. Now, we'll see in the patch notes that hopefully they release the probability rates, or the ability to juice this up, or there'll be some crazy big brain that will figure out a surefire way to make these trigger. So we can get Awaken Empowers and Awaken Enlightens, which sell for huge sums. What this will actually also mean is the accessibility is very likely to increase the amount of quantity of those items on the market, which is going to bring the price down, which I actually think's a really big advantage of this change. Now, some of the other things, altars no longer offer reward types like gems, influenced items, and unique items. I'm okay with that. I didn't think that they were very good. Basic currency is now relegated to the a little bit rarer of currency, and they've changed the way they've defined this. If anything, they've sort of rolled back some of the changes from what I can see here. They really went into with Archnem, this one-word identifier, and they've went back to pretty much rolling it back to what it used to be in a lot of circumstances from what we've seen so far. Obviously, we haven't seen patch notes yet. So the altars no longer offer basic rewards like Orbs Augment, Transmute, Blacksmith Waystones, and Armor Scraps, which is good because they would just drop this in abundance, which means there's better currency. We'll get like Chaos and things like that. It'll sort of shift in the right direction. Currency drops are still adherent to these rewards, or still adhered to for these rewards. So with the removal of basic rewards, you'll see good currency a lot more often, which will mean that you can actually farm maps, and maps will be a lot more profitable without having to super juice them with a shitload of delirium. So that's actually a really good change. Theoretically, we'll see how this plays out. Scarabs and Divination cards have also been split into specific rewards. That's good because Scarabs in early league are actually really good to farm, and Div cards, because you never know what you're going to get. So these rewards will be split, so they're exclusive to one altar type to allow target farming of these rewards. So fundamentally how they're setting the altars is so you can opt the altars and then target farm, and that's really cool. Now, one of the changes I noticed down, I'm sort of going to skip through this video because there'll probably be 1,000 people that'll put up videos about this. One of the other things I saw as I was reading through here, so they're going to up scarab tiers using... So it looks like there's potential for rarer scarabs, actually 3-to-1 ratio. Oh, so we're going to be able to upgrade scarabs with 3-to-1 ratio. So similar to a lot of other crafting mechanics like maps, for example, 3 of the same map gives you a different map of a higher tier you can upgrade. You're going to be able to do the same with scarabs, which is really cool because if you get a high abundance, so you could buy like sulfite scarabs for like 1C each and then just upgrade the shit, which means actually this is fantastic if we're going to delve this league, and we are going to be delving this league, so this is going to be super profitable. So it's just making it easier to upgrade your currency basically, and your ability to run scarabs and maps and things like that. Yeah, this was the change that I saw here. So we are making changes so that altar choices that affect the altar choices that can be selected will affect boss drops or influence monster drops are comparably valuable, which means that you can go smash altars and juice up the map boss, and that's going to make the drops off the map boss much more valuable, which is realistically the way it should be, because the map boss is supposed to be the hardest part of the entire map that you have to work to. And this one here, not directly related to altars, but related to the choice of what influence you make, you know, what type of influence you run on maps. We are adding a chance for Maven Witness map bosses to drop Awakened Gems. This for me really makes Maven an actual piece of content that I might consider farming, because this for a long time has been just the deterrent. You run Maven maps, not only is the boss harder, but the reward is pretty shitty compared to running Exarch maps, for example. You get higher pack sizes, and so you can farm the altars and then get a lot more XP and get better rewards. But for me, this actually makes more sense, because then you could farm for Awakened Gems while you're farming up the map fragment, or the fragments to actually do the Maven encounter itself, or you can sell off the Maven writs and make currency that way, which makes a lot of sense. And also you get access to like the Guardian maps a lot more frequently from doing the boss encounters. So that for me makes Maven a more target. I actually prefer that, and I might even consider juicing Maven this league and playing Maven as part of my rotation, which actually sounds like a hell of a lot of fun, actually, considering the build that I'm thinking about playing. So I'm not going to go into this detail. I'm not too... Like, the altars doesn't really affect my farming strategy personally, but it's a nice addition. I can't see where there's really a nerf here. It just sort of is balancing it out. The fact that you can now... This boss rushing component's really cool, so players currently have the incentive to skip past all regular map monsters and then go kill the map boss. Well, now it's going to be a more incentivized notion that if you hit an altar with a boss modifier, it's going to juice that boss up and potentially give you much better loot. So it makes sense to run the whole map instead of running straight to the end boss and actually, you know, farm the map the way the map was intended. I find this to be really a good mechanic. This is one of those cases where the most efficient and rewarding gameplay strategy so take away some of that efficiency, but bring it back to slowing. It slows the game pace down a touch. Like if you've got a really good character, you can blast through maps, and then it gives you an added bonus to being able to sort of take that end map boss down, and then you get better rewards based on your work within the map. So you're basically laying the foundation for a really good end result when you run a map. And I like that approach. I think that's the way mapping should be done. You know, the boss should not be the target. The map content should provide enough for you to be able to collect loot or juice up that map boss at the end, and then you fight a kick-ass map boss instead of just blasting map bosses like they don't even exist. There's some tweaking to altar monster packs. I don't think that this really has a huge impact on how we'll play. Wrath of the Cosmos, so one of the keystones on the These are the keystones that juice up the altars. These are basically being nerfed. It's fundamentally what this is saying. Overall, I think this is a really good change. The comments seem to indicate that, yeah, you know, peeps are pretty happy about this. I think we've been in this mindset for the last few leagues where we've just been expecting bad things. I am adamantly going to be positive about what's going to happen in 3.20. I think it's potentially GGG's going to learn from mistakes. Definitely the changes to Archnam and just sort of rearing that out of the game and then adjusting mapping like this sort of says to me that, you know, they are taking on board the feedback. And at the same time, I like this change because now I can get access to Awakened Gems without having to fuck around with Maven fights, because if anyone watches my channel, I really hate Maven. I think it's a terrible fight. The memory game sucks, and yeah, that's pretty much my opinion of Maven. So I like this change. I can get Awakened Gems the easy way and just farm maps, Maven powered maps to do that. Anyway, yeah, I'll keep releasing videos with my thoughts and my analysis on the balance manifesto as they come out. Hopefully, I think they said December 1 we get patch notes. So that'll be really nice. I'll be playing some Endless Delirium probably tonight on stream and the next few nights. So I've got to travel later in the week. And then I'll be playing over the weekend. So log in and tune into my co-stream on Twitch and YouTube there. But until next time, have a good one, and bye.